7.8 jobless number. Let's play hardball. Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews down in Washington. Let me start tonight with the good news on the unemployment front, getting the jobless number down below 8%, down to 7.8% a month before the election. Could be the upbeat news to give this president the kind of big-time bounce he needs. Since the campaign began, we've known the power of the unemployment figure. Now we have the number itself. Plus, the good news about the last 2 months, it's clear that the economy created more jobs than previously estimated. There are some people out there who don't like this number, don't like it at all, and leading the band is the legendary CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, who joins us right now. Jack, you made a lot of news today. Here's the tweet you put out this morning. Unbelievable jobs numbers. These Chicago guys will do anything. Can't debate, so change numbers. And I'm just wondering, I understand the way it works is the president gets a heads up on the unemployment number 4 o'clock the day before and has to keep it to himself. You're saying in your tweet this morning that the news went the other way, that the people that are working for the president somehow got the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and played with the numbers so it would come down below 8 today. How do you know? How does it work from your perspective? What happened here?
Well, Chris, all I can talk about are some of the numbers. We had 600,000 government jobs added in the last 2 months. We had 873,000 jobs by a household survey, which is a total estimate from 50,000 phone calls. Of those, 600,000 were temporary workers. Chris, these numbers are all a series of assumptions, tons of assumptions. And it just seems somewhat coincidental that the month before the election, the numbers go 1/10 of a point below where they were when the president started, although I don't see anything in the economy that says these surges are true. The 873,000 jobs in the household survey is the strongest economy since 1983. I don't think you can find an economist. There were 25 of them this morning that predicted 8.1 to 8.2, but they did predict 114,000 jobs. We got 114,000 jobs. Right. And somehow the assumptions ended up at 7.8.
Well, let me just go back to your tweet this morning. And it must be embarrassing for you to do a tweet now after the power you used to have. I mean, tweeting doesn't seem like something I hear from Jack Welch, and I mean it. But here you put out the word here, unbelievable jobs numbers, fair enough. These Chicago guys will do anything, so they changed the numbers. What evidence do you have that they got to the BLS? Chicago guys got to the Bureau of Labor Statistics and jimmied these numbers by 0.3%, as you put it.
I have no evidence to prove that. I just raised the question.
But, you didn't raise the question. You said these Chicago guys will do anything, so they changed the number. You are asserting here in your tweet that you put out at 8:35 this morning, 5 minutes after the report came out. Did you talk to any economists or any people in the national income accounting world that understood how these numbers were put together before you accused these Chicago guys of changing the numbers?
Chris, I know that these numbers are gathered by a series of wild assumptions. Maybe they weren't right at 8.5. Maybe they weren't right at 8.4. But it seems coincidental that 1 month before the election, they would end up at 7.8. The president today is on the stump. The president, all he's talked about is 7.8. He didn't mention 600,000 jobs added in the government sector.
But let's get back to it's not your attitude about Obama people care about. It's your analysis. And you came out this morning and asserted, not a question mark or a question or a concern about a coincidence. You say these Chicago guys will do anything, so they changed the numbers. Do you want to take that back?
No,
this is an assertion that there was jimming with these numbers. There was corruption here, an infiltration or getting to it's not funny, Jack. You're talking about the President of the United States playing with the Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers. This is Nixon stuff. This is when Nixon did back in the old days. Chris, he accused him of doing this.
Chris, don't lose it now.
I'm not losing it. Look at my face. I'm not losing it.
I can't see.
I wonder if you're Jack. Do you want to take back the charge?
No, I don't want to take
there was corruption here.
I don't want to take back one word in that tweet.
So you assert as of now, 5 o'clock this afternoon, these Chicago guys will do anything. They can't debate, so they change numbers.
I didn't say what they did. I said they'd do anything.
And what did they do here?
They've been calling Mitt Romney a liar, a falsehood, for the last 48 hours after the debate.
Okay. But you don't have any independent evidence. You didn't get any evidence between the time the numbers came out this morning at 8:30 and 8:35 when you tweeted. You didn't use that 5 minutes to gather any actual information or evidence that there was corruption in these numbers.
But, Chris, I tweeted last night that I predicted they'd be at 7.9.
Okay. And why did you make that prediction?
Because I guessed that's what would happen a month before the election.
So you guessed that the Chicago guys would do this?
Well, I don't want to put words in the mouth of what I said last night, but that's what I did.
Well, this morning, I just want to go back. Let's not go over the tweet one more time. I don't think we're getting anywhere. But the question that what started this whole ban today, and people of a lot less IQ than you, and certainly a lot less business sense, like Alan West and some of the real screwballs out there, are following the band you're leading. And the band you put together today was that there's corruption here, that the Chicago people, meaning the guys around President Obama, got to the BLS.
Chris,
and manipulated the numbers.
Stop it now. I've reviewed 14 businesses this week, from restaurants to rental cars to widgets. I have seen everybody with a third quarter equal to or weaker than the first quarter. Okay. In order to get 873,000 new jobs, you would have to have a GDP going at 4 to 5%. The second quarter was downgraded from 1.7 to 1.3. The third quarter is not going to be very strong. It just defies the imagination to have a surge larger than any surge since 1983, a month before the election. I leave it to you to do all the analysis.
No, I'm just going back because it seemed like you were doing that. Let me go to Keith Hall. He was Bush's guy who was commissioner of the BLS. And he said to the Wall Street Journal today, following what you said, there's no way someone at the Bureau of Labor Statistics could change any of the data from its surveys. These numbers are good. So why do you know more than him? I mean, do you really think it gets back to the question of integrity? Do you believe the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, lacks integrity? That a president of the United States, Nixon said he could never get to them. He used to say there was an ethnic factor. They were all Jewish people over there. He didn't trust them. He thought they were all out to get him. Now you say the president controls the BLS. Previous presidents said they couldn't get their hands into that place because it was so independent.
You don't think it's coincidental that we've got the biggest surge since 1983 and in the job surge? Come on, Chris.
It's 0.3 of 1% shift this month.
No, Chris, it was
0.3. It went from 8.1 down to 7.8.
It was 0.2, 8.3 to 8.1 last month. Right. 8.1 to 7.8. It's a 6% improvement in employment in 2 months. Chris, 6% improvement would require a GDP.
Jack,
the numbers
all
don't
I want to know
jive.
is when we write this down 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, when the election's over, I want to know what you meant. Do you mean it's a coincidence, or do you mean you have evidence that there was corruption here in these numbers?
I have no evidence of corruption, none whatsoever.
Okay, so these Chicago guys had nothing to do with the number coming out today.
I don't know that.
Well, why'd you say it? These Chicago guys will do anything. They'll change the numbers. You just said it in your tweet. I'm always careful when I tweet, Jack. I usually have somebody like my producer say, read my tweet.
Chris,
did you really want to stand behind this tweet?
I want to raise the question of these numbers.
You did raise the question.
Chris, these numbers defy logic. They defy logic. We do not have a 4 to 5% booming economy with 873,000 people at it. I mean, stop it, Chris. On the face of it, we don't have this GDP. I love you, but you can't get there.
I think you're a great, brilliant businessman. In some ways, in fact, I do wish you were in charge of my stock options these days because you made a lot of money for us here. But let me ask you this one more time so that all the people out there of lesser intellect will stop marching in your band. Jack Welch thinks this is a coincidence. Jack Welch does not believe the boys in Chicago changed the numbers.
No, Jack Welch is raising the question for some good analysts to go look at.
Okay, good. You're raising the question. And you certainly did that. Jack Welch, thank you very much for joining us at the very top of Hardball tonight.